Outside for us right now, we're going to go live to Chris Brown, Bills Insider, BuffaloBills.com. He's at practice outside the AdPro Sports Training Center. The Bills are working in the rain again today, Brownie. They might as well get used to it if it's going to rain on Sunday in Nashville, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the equation and the decision-making to come out here again for a second straight day and practice in the rain. You may as well get used to the wet conditions. And the Nissan Stadium is grass, so out here on grass, might as well get used to what is likely to be the state of conditions on Sunday. First things first, Josh back out here practicing again today. We're not going to know the level of his participation until the Thursday injury report comes out with an update on the players on the injured list. He and Barkley right now working with the offensive line on silent count, which is going to be an element they're going to have to employ this week with the crowd noise on the road on Sunday.
One more thing. I do want to talk about Josh, but about the atmosphere in Nissan Stadium. By all reports, there's going to be a lot of Bills fans there, and that's kind of a familiar feel when the Bills hit the road these days. We saw it in New York, first couple of road games, but it'll still be a Tennessee crowd. I wouldn't look for the Bills fans to predominate there in Nashville Sunday, would you?
Yeah, I think there'll be a fair representation, though. My neighbors are going down today. They're going to be down there. This is they take one road trip a year, and this is the one they've picked, and I think it's a popular one amongst Bills fans, especially those that are here in the Western New York area, not necessarily Tennessee transplants, people from Buffalo who now live down there. I think there's a fair number of Western New Yorkers that are going to be making this trip because, it is an entertaining city, a fun city to spend a weekend in.
Yeah, your neighbors, my neighbors, a lot of people are headed down. I know that there's also a Bills backers tailgate that's got over 2,000 people headed for the stadium that day.
There you go.
In a roped-off, cordoned area. They're going to have a huge tailgate with Bills backers down there. Yeah, it should be a fun – and Nashville has quickly become a destination for a lot of NFL franchises, their fan bases to go down and visit. They haven't been in the league, it's 20 years, and I think just now people are kind of getting the idea that Nashville's a little bit of a destination.
Nash Vegas, baby.
Nashville, there you go. I did the game there, I think, 3 years ago when the Bills were down there, and walking around at the hotel in downtown, I went out and had some dinner with some friends who like they made the trip this time. The place is jammed with Bills people.
Don't kid yourself. It's a Tennessee home game.
It is. It's a Tennessee home game.
And it will be a Tennessee home game.
And it's good that they're working on the silent count because the Tennessee fans are going to show up.
All right, Josh Allen, Brownie. We don't know what to read into the video that you provide for us, and until we see at the end of practice, we don't really have a better sense of what his status will be. I'm assuming at the end of the day, they'll probably say he was limited again today, right? There's got to be some element of clouding up the issue as far as the Titans are concerned, as far as what the Bills plan to do with Josh. No? Yes? What do you think?
Right, yeah, and, Coach will talk after practice, and he'll undoubtedly be asked if Josh is still in the protocol. So we'll get an answer on that, which will just be basically yes or no. Obviously, Coach not at liberty to elaborate by NFL rules unless he's out of the protocol, and then he can give some more information. But if he's still in, it's just going to be a confirmation that he is still in the protocol. So we'll have to see if there's more work for him. We didn't get confirmation as to whether he took any team reps, but knowing he was limited and in stage 4 of the protocol, probably not yesterday, which meant Matt Barkley got the bulk of the work there. And I would imagine, guys, that to some extent you have to give some snaps, at least as it stands right now, or at least as it stood yesterday, to Davis Webb in the event that Josh is not available as a backup this week, and you have to elevate him from the practice squad to the active roster to serve as the backup to Matt Barkley on Sunday.
Now, Brownie, we're asking our listeners and our viewers today, what gives the Bills the best chance to win on Sunday versus the Titans? Is it Josh with minimal practice, Barkley with a full week of practice, or it doesn't matter, the defense is going to win it anyway? You have an opinion?
Well, I think what makes that tricky is what kind of Josh Allen are you getting? Obviously, if he's medically cleared, you're going to say, yes, we get the Josh Allen we've always had. But are you really? I think there's going to be a concerted effort to keep him from running as much as he does, because what you don't want are 2 concussions in close proximity to one another. That could lead to a whole host of other problems. That's assuming that he's even cleared and ready to play. I would say that Matt Barkley is more than capable. I mean, we saw what this guy was able to do on just 12 days of preparation last year. 12 days in the offense, and he led a blowout effort against the Jets last year. Now, this is a much different situation that he walks into. 11 months of experience in this offense. What will likely be, if Josh doesn't play, a full complement of first-team reps to have timing and rhythm with the rest of the guys on the offensive side of the ball, the wide receivers chief among them. So I would say based on the circumstances, assuming Josh is limited again today, I would take Barkley.
Okay.
And Barkley sounded, I know you were in on the interview sessions with him yesterday. Barkley, first of all, wasn't going to give anything up as far as who might play, but sounded confident, poised, controlled, right? I mean, his head's not spinning due to the fact that, and look, he needs to know more than any of us whether he's starting on Sunday, right?
Right, and that was kind of the lead into the story I wrote about him today on BuffaloBills.com. I mean, we're all huddled around his locker waiting for him to show up after practice, and I think an indication as to how at ease he is he yells to the guys, "Oh, hold on, guys, I'm going to get Duke Williams for you," because he's the locker neighbor, kind of joking like we're all standing there to talk to Duke instead of him. But I think that's an indication as to how at ease he is with his role on this football team, number one. And I talked to him at the end of preseason, guys, and let's not forget, yes, it's preseason defense, it's vanilla. He was the number one rated passer in the league in the preseason this summer. So I think there is a level of comfort with this offensive scheme that you could argue he may not have had anywhere else in his professional career with as much as he's had to hop around. He signs the 2-year extension in the offseason. He's been in this offense for almost a full calendar year now. And he told me, he said, this is as free and comfortable as I have felt in an NFL offense in my career. And I think that's important going into a game like this week.
You know what else is important about Barkley, I think, Chris, and we had some discussion about this on our show yesterday. Steve and I want to get your thoughts on this. Not only is he comfortable in the offense and with his role here, he fits in to this group, I think, very much, just in 11 months. He's like an integral part of who they are and kind of the personality of this team. Am I overstating that? What do you think?
Right. No, I don't think so. And I was talking to Lorenzo about that. I wanted to get some perspective on the other side of the ball in the locker room on, just the type of person Matt is. And I know Matt's family and Lorenzo's family, they spend a lot of time together. So just talking to Lorenzo, there's a sense, Matt might be California, laid back guy, but he's an energetic personality. He's the kind of personality that lifts people up, kind of cheers people up, whether it's on the field or off the field. And that's not all that different from Josh's personality, if you think about it. And so I think the fact that they kind of operate on similar wavelengths, interact with teammates in much the same way, I think it helps for transition's sake from one guy to the other in helping this team and this offense specifically just continue to roll and operate business as usual.
Chris, I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about Devin Singletary and the running backs, what's going on over in that part of the practice field. Singletary is still limited, or was yesterday, although you don't get an idea of how much reps he's going to take today, whether he's been cleared or not. But still, getting him back in the offense, particularly if Matt Barkley is the guy taking snaps, that could be crucial.
Well, I think it'll certainly help to diversify the run game for sure. Just him and Frank. Frank's kind of between the tackles guy. Not a whole lot of wiggle, although he does a great job of setting up his blocks, where Singletary, is a darting, juke and jive kind of runner. I think, running those guys back-to-back in the same series will be a major adjustment for the Tennessee defense, even as good as their run defense is. And today could be a very telling day as far as Singletary is concerned, because Frank Gore is taking his Thursday rest day, at least it appears to me. Yeah, he doesn't have his helmet, so he's getting his Thursday veteran rest day today. So it's going to be interesting to see, do they up the workload for Devin today, and is he a full participant? And if so, that's certainly a good sign for him playing on Sunday.
On the topic of offensive backs, Pat DeMarco missed yesterday, right? He's in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Any updates on that? And do they need to sign somebody if DeMarco's not available? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get a chance to count everybody up, and he's one of the guys I did not see out here as of yet. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But, oh, no, I see him now. He's got a red
There he
jersey
is.
on, but he
There
does
he
have a
is.
helmet. But he does have a helmet, and he's participating. So that would mean that he's moved from stage 3 to stage 4 of the return to participation protocol. Yesterday, just light aerobic exercise. Today, he's out here with a red non-contact jersey on, so I would tend to think he's joined Josh Allen and Dean Marlowe in step 4 of the return to participation protocol. And one other thing I should mention, guys, when I was watching Devin Singletary in practice yesterday, there was a spring in his step, an extra jump, an extra gear, if you will, as he was going through the drills. So I was very encouraged by what I saw from him despite that limited designation.
What's the roster situation on numbers right now? Are they at the full 53? And what was the last person they brought up or sat down after Harrison Phillips? I guess it was Pecco, right?
Right. So Pecco filled his roster spot. So, yeah, they're at 53.
My question is this. If Josh Allen continues to be in the concussion protocol and they want to bring up Davis Webb, what's the move?
It's probably an offensive lineman. They're a little heavy there. And in most weeks, they've had 3 inactive offensive linemen. So that means they've got 10 on the roster because you usually carry 7 active. So that's where they're a little heavy in terms of numbers. So I would anticipate that's where the move would be.
Ronnie, let's talk about offensive linemen. Ty Nsekhe did not practice yesterday with ankle issues. He's had knee issues. I know we won't get an update until after practice, but I wonder what the thinking is for Nsekhe. I mean, did they just use Cody Ford at right tackle almost exclusively then? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably the way they go, and I don't see Nsekhe out here right now. So he was out here yesterday observing practice, listed with an ankle injury, but no sign of him with the other linemen out here today. So that certainly doesn't spell a rosy picture for his status as far as Sunday's game goes. So we'll have to just see what Coach says after practice today on him. But, yeah, if he can't go, you're looking at Cody Ford. And then I would think that your emergency swing tackle should Deon Dawkins or Ford succumb to injury, you may be looking at the undrafted rookie Ryan Bates as your swing tackle in this game if Nsekhe's not available.
That's what I was going to ask. Is Ryan Bates the next guy up, or is it, McDermott,
Oh, yeah, you do have Connor McDermott as a tackle, too, but he's been inactive, and Bates has been active. And I think that's due mainly to the fact that Bates can play all 5 positions on the line, but maybe if there is a specific tackle need, it could be McDermott that's up instead of Bates. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Steve. That's a distinct possibility.
Is there any chance that they, even if Josh Allen is going to play, and they don't want to make the call until later in the week, that they sign Davis Webb just to keep the Tennessee Titans guessing?
Yeah, I mean, they have till 4 p.m. on Saturday to make that move if they need to. So, yeah, I would expect them to take it all the way up to the weekend. I mean, heck, they may not even make the move until right before they hop on the plane on Saturday to fly down there.
With Chris Brown, Bills Insider, BuffaloBills.com. He's on the wet practice field as the Bills have their Thursday practice underway. Just a couple of minutes left with Chris. Big picture issues here, Chris. Having watched the Titans a lot last night, I came away impressed with their defense. I know the numbers aren't great, but they're a defense that flies around, that disguises well. That their head coach comes from the New England coaching tree, and they saw what was going on as far as confusion, that the Patriots did to the Bills last week. I would imagine the Bills' offense will be up against it against a pretty good Tennessee defense this Sunday.
Right. If there's a benefit for the Bills, they'll get a lot of the same looks that they just got this past week because the scheme is relatively similar. I think the one thing that the Titans do not do play call-wise with Dean Pease as the defensive coordinator that the Patriots do is man coverage. Patriots play a lot more man coverage than the Titans do, who tend to play a little bit more zone. That's not to say they won't go and press man a little bit, and maybe they might be inclined to do more of that in light of the success that the Patriots had this past week against the Bills' offense. But on the whole, they subscribe to more zone concepts than press man. So be interesting to see what the strategy is on the part of Dean Pease and that Titans defense.
I did see almost exclusively zone against Atlanta last Sunday. They got a good back end of their defense, too. Kevin Byard is a really good safety. They got a couple of former New England cornerbacks in Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler. I think the back end of their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, Logan Ryan is exclusively their slot guy. Dory Jackson, former high draft choice, is on the one side and usually locks up with the top guy. The interesting thing, Malcolm Butler, who Bills fans are very familiar with from his time in New England, has kind of had a little bit of an uneven start to his season this year. He's been beaten for some big plays. He's had some busted coverages. So he's still looking to get his game probably at a peak level because it hasn't been there to this point. It's been very up and down.
What do you see as maybe the big difference from the Bills' defense as compared to the Tennessee defense? I mean, they're both really good. They both have good secondaries. What are some of the key differences?
Well, I mean, I think they've got a premier player on the interior in Jarrell Casey, who I still think doesn't get enough credit, even though he's gone to about 3 Pro Bowls now. I even asked Ed Oliver about him to see if he was a guy that he watched on film, and Ed said, look, the funny thing about him is Jarrell Casey doesn't look like a defensive tackle at all. He's kind of got spindly legs for a big man, and he's built like an icebox on top. But as Ed said, he gets the job done, and he does it in a big way. He causes all kinds of problems for offensive linemen. It's going to be interesting to see what the blocking schemes are by offensive line coach Bobby Johnson in protections for the game plan this week, because John Feliciano is going to draw him as the main assignment, but I think he's going to need some help from Mitch Morse at times because that guy's a handful.
One more for you, and it's about the Titans-Bills matchup, Chris, because we did enough about injuries already. Watch the Titans. Marcus Mariota threw 3 touchdown passes against Atlanta, and yet, as I mentioned to my partner out here, Steve, for every good play he makes, there's like 4 or 5 questionable ones. I just don't get him sometimes in his 5th year. I said to Steve, I understand why the Titans might not want to take a longer look before they decide whether to renew him.
Right. He's kind of a mercurial player. I won't deny that for a second. Now, he's gotten off to a great start as far as his numbers are concerned. 7 touchdowns, no picks. I think he's the only quarterback in the league without an interception thus far this season. So he's been really good. And against the blitz, he's been even better, guys. 6 touchdowns, no picks. I think he has the highest passer rating in the league against the blitz so far this year. So the approach of the Bills defense is going to be an interesting one in light of those numbers. How much do they take those to heart with respect to the defensive game plan against him? And we all know that he can get out and run. It seems like the offensive focus is to get the ball out of Mariota's hands as quickly as possible and get the ball to their playmakers in space and let them do the rest. Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to do this yesterday. I'm going to look today to see where the Titans rank in yards after catch through the first 4 games, because I got to believe they're somewhere in the top 10 in the league for sure, especially after adding A.J. Brown to their receiving core in the draft. The rookie's been pretty good so far, 3 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week, and he's not even starting yet. They still have, Corey Davis, a former first-round pick, who's starting to come into his own, although he had some drop problems last week, a couple of drops on some easy passes. But he still made some plays in the second half for them. And we know Delaney Walker is still a good space player, even at his advanced age at tight end. So the way they operate is 3-step drop, Mariota get it out, let these guys run in space and get the yards for you. And it's worked to a certain extent so far, and it certainly worked last week against the Falcons.
Well, the Tennessee Titans are also averaging about 119 yards rushing per game. The Bills are going 147 per game with Frank Gore. And without Devin Singletary the last couple of weeks, Derrick Henry is their bell cow back. He's big and he's really fast, but he's a different type of runner. What are your thoughts about their running game, how it complements Mariota?
Yeah, I mean, it's a power run game. He's not going to shake anybody in the hole. He's going to lower his shoulder and put a lick on you when he's coming through. I think what's kind of held their run game back a little bit has been some of the mixing and matching they've been doing on their offensive line. They've been rotating their rookie guard through at the right guard position, similar to the way the Bills have rotated Cody Ford. Nate Davis, their 3rd-round pick, is a guy I think who's ultimately going to be a starter for them, but they just don't feel comfortable, so he's been rotating in and out in the lineup on the right side. And then their left tackle, Taylor Lewan, has been out the first 4 games due to suspension. He comes back this week, and so I think that's going to add a welcome addition to their offensive line as far as run blocking and pass protection goes, because if there's one thing that's happened this season, Mariota's been sacked a lot. I think it's 19 times in the first 4 games. They gave up 9 sacks to the Jaguars in the game they played against them a few weeks ago. So they're trying to shore that up, and with Lawan back in the lineup, it's bound to be better.
Chris, we got to let you go. Thank you very much. Sorry to keep you out in the wet so long. Appreciate it. Thanks.
You got it, guys.